Itching to head to Disney? The top-notch team of travel advisors at my travel agency, People Mover Travel, are experts in all things Disney. From the parks to Disney Cruise Line, they are your personal travel advisor from the moment your trip is booked until the moment you get home. They can book your hotel, dining reservations, tours, and we continue to monitor special offers to ensure that you're getting the best price for your trip. And it's not just Disney. We have experts that specialize in Europe, cruises, all-inclusive resorts, Alaska, Hawaii, and more. Find out how we can personally help you plan and book your next trip for free. Visit peoplemovertravel.com to get a free, no-obligation quote and find out how we can make your next trip anywhere more magical. People Mover Travel, the official travel agency of the Disneyville podcast. Because your vacation shouldn't feel like a homework assignment. Welcome to the Disneyville podcast, episode 38. I am very tired and I'm going to overcompensate by being way too excited.
Say, oh my God.
Did I scare you?
You woke me up.
I've been moping around like I'm so tired.
Yeah,
I was like,
have.
when I go into it, I'm just going to go for it. Here we go. Welcome.
Oh my gosh. I'm into it. That was like a shot of espresso for me, straight to the heart. Straight to the heart.
Got a nice red eye here with a shot of espresso in it here. We're going to pump you up. SNL 50. Okay, what are we doing?
There's a lot happening on that side of the room.
We are your hosts, Tyler and Jessica Braun.
Hello.
Here at the Disneyville podcast, episode 38.
I know.
This is exciting.
We made it. We'll say that every time. Don't you spill that coffee on me. We today are actually doing an episode we probably should have done many episodes ago.
Maybe like episode 1 or 2 should have been this one.
And we've touched on many of the things we're going to mention, but we're going to go in to basically our top 10 best hacks, tips, etc. To get the most out of your Disney trip, whether it's your first time, your 100th time going, whatever. I think there's something in here for everyone. And I learned something new today that blew my mind. And I can't wait to utilize it.
Well, and it's kind of something we already knew. It's just we knew,
but there's a nuanced part of it that is like the most incredible part that
we just didn't really
I made the connection. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So very excited to share that one. That should be our last one.
Okay, it's not that
string
exciting.
You along. Yes, it is.
So yeah, I feel like this is one of those things where like making this list, this is the top 10 things to get the most out of your trip. And I'm like, we could easily have made this the top 100 things because having a Disney trip, it can be so complicated, especially if it's your first time. And so there's so many things. So we asked you guys if you had some tips as well. So we're going to do some of those at the end too, because there's so much to touch on.
There's going to be a lot.
When it comes to a Disney
This is going to be a treasure trove, I hope. Whether you're just stumbling upon this video and you were like, who are these jamokes? I really hope this is a treasure trove for all of you to be able to just mine for different hacks. Right. You know what I mean?
And we're going to do a corresponding blog post with this one too. So if you've not been to our website, we do have welcome to Disneyville.com. And we have blog posts and you can listen to the show there. We have all kinds of stuff there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do a corresponding blog post with this. So if you have a comment, you can comment on the YouTube channel. You can comment on that blog post.
Nice.
We'll have lots of different areas for you to add your own. And we're just going to make our own like big old document of great ideas.
Big old community forum. And one little teaser. You ready to tease them? If you don't say it like that again.
I have no comment. Go on.
Last episode, we talked about how merch would be coming. Merch is still coming. We are literally in the home stretch of getting it properly on our site and all the back end stuff that you guys probably are not interested in. So by the next episode, the merch will be launched. We will have a date. We may even launch it before the podcast, like if we share it on our socials. So there's a little benefit.
Maybe.
If you follow us on our socials, there's a chance we will share it before. We still have some things to figure out. So
yeah, but it's coming very soon.
Very, very soon, like in the next couple of weeks, and we're very very excited.
And we're keeping it simple this first round. We're doing a couple simple things, but they're really nice. We've
high quality.
Yeah, we've gotten them in the mail and we've tested them. And
I've been wearing mine for months.
So
it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so anyway, that's the little teaser.
Yep.
We'll talk more about it next episode.
All right, top 10 tips.
Let's do this.
Let's do it. So our very first tip, and this is a big one.
Mm-hmm. This is the first one I thought of.
Yeah, honestly, me too.
Crazy.
When we first started talking about this, we had two ideas. This was one of the two.
Yep.
Utilize mobile order for your quick service food needs. It is such a good service that for so long was underutilized.
I think it still is underutilized.
I think so.
I think, because again, many people, and you may be one of them, you're going for the first time, you might not have even heard of it. Now, if you're watching this and you're going for the first time, you're going to be one step ahead of the game.
Yes.
Like, you'll be many steps, because we've been doing this for a decade.
Longer
going to
than
the parks, that
15
is.
years.
Oh my gosh.
So if you don't know, the mobile order service is basically what it sounds like. You can order your lunch, your breakfast, whatever on your phone. And then when you arrive, you hit I'm here. And then you can do it. A lot of restaurants are doing this now. They do it at Starbucks. They do it all over the place now. But it's so nice because when you're in Disney, you could be in line at Peter Pan and you've got downtime. Go ahead and take that time, get your whole family together, say, what does everybody want for lunch? You go ahead and make your order.
Pass the phone around.
Yep. Everyone adds what they want. And then you can place the order. And then as soon as you get there, you hit I'm ready. And it'll let you know when it's ready to go pick up. You go pick it up. And you're on your way.
You're on your way.
Saves so much time in the long run. I mean, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there.
Well, and also just from a planning perspective, you can choose a window of time. So sometimes you're like, okay, I want to eat now. You pull it up, but the next window of time that you can order is like 30 minutes from then. Well, then that would be a case where I would just get in line. And, But as a general rule, you can do it ahead of time if you want and pick an arrival window.
Right.
But either way, when you get near there, you do need to click I'm here, prepare my order, or else it's not just going to magically appear. You do have to do that.
And then you can be scoping out tables because depending on the time you're eating, sometimes it's hard to find a table. So you can be focusing on that versus. So anyway, it works out really, really well. It's a great system. Highly recommend you use it. I
want to piggyback a little bonus tip on here. This is still tip number 1. Mobile merchandise checkout on the same Disney Parks app. That we have utilized now almost exclusively when we can, because then you can bypass any, especially if you're at World of Disney or one of the really big Disney gift shops. You can literally scan your items on the app. It is super easy to use. It's not confusing at all.
Very intuitive.
And then you check out, you can pay. At the time we were using it, we were still annual pass holders, and it would apply your discount appropriately without you having to do anything. So it's amazing. And then as you're leaving, you go out wherever there's a sign that says merchandise mobile checkout. Right. You exit that door, you show them your receipt on your phone, and then they're like, okay.
And my hope is the more people use it, the more stores it will expand to. Because right now there's not a whole lot of stores that offer it, but we do use it whenever we can.
A lot of the big ones do, though.
And also to piggyback on that, to piggyback on Jessica's piggyback.
Bonus tip number 2
if
of number 1.
If you have the dining plan and you want to do mobile order, it will still have your credits there and it will still work. So you don't have to only do it if you're paying cash or credit.
Ooh, good call.
If you have the dining plan, you can still do the mobile order and it will utilize your credits.
And that might be almost easier because then you know that what you're getting is part. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's that confusion of, is this a snack or is this a meal credit? Right. You can see right there on your phone if it is or not.
Okay, so kind of on that same vein then, tip number 2, use the mobile app for bus times. That's another great feature of the app. Now, I will say the app is very buggy. The Disney website can be very buggy, especially when I was booking a lot of trips back in the day as an agent. I swear Jessica could always hear me down in my office. I'm like, this website, stupid website, it's not working.
Sounded like my dad mad at like Christmas lights.
Off in my own world. Just
come on, flapping.
Anyway, but it does have some really good features, and that's one of them. And so basically at your resort, if you were staying at a Disney resort, you can pull up the app and it will show you when the bus times to Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom, whatever, it will show you the bus times for when they're arriving next. So that way, if it's raining outside or if it's super hot and it's not going to be there for another 25 minutes, you don't have to go right away. You can stay in your cool air-conditioned room and plan ahead for when you're going to go and get on the bus.
That's huge.
It doesn't work going the other direction. It doesn't tell you the wait times going from a park to your resort, which would be really nice.
Oh, that would be very nice.
I really hope that
you never know.
Someday. But you can, if you're staying in a Disney resort, see when the next bus arrival time is to go to your desired park.
Yeah, that is a really nice update they made quite a few years ago, and I think it's gotten better over the years. And now it's pretty good. And then of course at the bus stops, I think most of them
all do now.
Okay, have the screen where it'll tell you the same information. But if you're in your room wanting to know,
yeah,
we're like, are we going to lug down the the stroller or not.
When we first started going, they didn't have the screens. And I think they started slowly putting them in at like deluxe resorts and all that. But now they're at all the bus stops. And it was HE double hockey sticks sitting there.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm like, when is this bus going to get here? Do I go back inside?
You're just floating like you don't know. Yeah.
All right. So those are 2 quick, easy ones. Very easy to do.
Yes.
Implement them. Use them.
You're welcome. Okay. Grocery ordering. We have definitely talked about this a lot in our previous vlogs when we've been in Disney. We always place a grocery order. And I think I've gotten some comments that have said, oh, is it, yeah, that's great if you have kids to be able to get snacks. I'm like, no. You don't have to have kids. When we went alone, we had a grocery order placed.
Yeah.
Water, just for water bottles alone. Or like, honestly, what we typically get is like water jugs that we can just refill our own water bottles with on repeat.
Sometimes we'll get like the real big ones with like the tap on it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get like whatever they have.
Whatever they have in stock. But yeah, you can do Amazon order, Walmart Plus delivery, anything will deliver to your resort. You just got to look up like grocery delivery address for whatever hotel and you'll find it. It is that easy, but it'll be delivered. The Bell services will hold on to it for you.
Typically,
and then, typically. And then, and I think they even will refrigerate it. Like it's a thing. Like most people do it. So it's not uncommon. So you won't be like, they won't be confused.
Yeah. Now you might get charged like a $6 fee.
If they deliver it for you, which
that's
is nice.
In theory, that's the policy, but sometimes they just don't charge us. So it just kind of depends on who you get.
Maybe they're like, it depends on how much they tip.
I don't know. But then there's like a delivery fee to charge it. Like if you have it delivered to your room, you would tip the Bell Services team for delivering it to your room. But again, it just depends. I feel like every hotel is different, which it shouldn't be. It should be the one policy. But I feel like every possible scenario has happened to us. So I can't give you an exact of what it would be. But anyway, so you might have to pay a little bit extra to have them hold it and or deliver it.
But the amount you are saving.
Oh, so much.
Like just on water alone. Oh my gosh. Like obviously you do you. If you want to drink the tap water from the hotel, do whatever you want. But we drink a lot of water throughout the day. And especially when it is hot, it's not a joke. Like you have to be drinking water. And when you're in the parks, you can get ice water from anyone, any restaurant for free. But yeah, just having that, especially just in the hotel room and to fill your bottles to start the day is amazing.
Yep.
But yeah, snacks, quick breakfast, grab and go things, bananas, granola bars, whatever.
Especially if you're going to try and rope drop early in the morning, you don't want to stop and have a quick service breakfast or anything.
You're trying to go, baby.
Grab your banana and get out the door,
Okay, a piggyback tip for that one. If you can't tell, I just had a laughing fit, off camera. You can order from Amazon itself.
Right.
Like, I'm not talking groceries. Yes, you can do that. But you can just order from Amazon or wherever, really, and have it delivered to your hotel as well. So there have been times where we're like, we need whatever it is, usually for the kids.
A fan.
Like
one of our
and we've ordered it and got, 1-day delivery, whatever. And then we call Bell Service and like, yep, we've got your package. And then same thing. There might be a fee, there might not be, depending on. But that is huge because the cost of like getting an Uber to go far away to get one specific item, it's so nice. Like for me,
consuming too.
It's time consuming and it puts my shoulders down when I'm packing that like, okay, if I forgot something crucial, I could find a way to be able to get it to her. So wanted to bring that up because I think that most people don't know that and that's really nice.
And we've used them all. We've used Amazon Prime Groceries. We've done Walmart delivery. We've done Garden Grocery.
No, the Water Butlers. They
Water Butlers, but we also, the original one was the Garden Grocers, right? So we've done them all.
We've done them all.
They're all the same. Whatever has the best prices.
I think you can do Instacart, whatever Publix, whatever's nearby.
Yeah. All right, now this is a big one. Maybe the biggest one. Use a travel agent. Now, if you don't know, I own a travel agency. You probably saw the commercial at the beginning of this podcast episode. But a lot of people, I don't think, realize what a travel agent does.
And First of all, I want to chime in as an outsider. I mean, obviously, like I don't work for you. I'm not a part of that. No, you're not my real
boss.
Anyway, but I will say, like, prior to you ever opening this agency years and years ago and all that, I mean, I had no experience with travel agencies or travel agents or anything, but especially when it comes to Disney we're describing all these hacks and we're going to be talking about dining reservations here in a minute and we're going to be talking about lightning lanes and we've got some great tips for you, but these are the kinds of things that a travel agent would already know and would be telling you about, would be helping you with, et cetera. Yeah. So anyway, go on.
And the biggest thing to know right off the bat is travel agents work for you for free. So you're going to pay the exact same amount whether you book through the Disney website or whether you book through a travel agent. Yeah. There's no difference in price, but the travel agent can keep on top of special offers. So like Disney, if you book something 6 months out, Disney might not have a special offer for those dates, but then later on they'll announce one.
And they almost always do.
A good travel agent will keep monitoring those prices and say, hey, this new special offer came out, and if they're really good, like we are at People Mover Travel, if I say so myself, we'll actually just apply the discount if it's available, and then email you and be like, hey, we saved you $100 today because this new discount came out.
Usually more.
Yeah, and so we always keep on top of that. But again, it's totally free for you no matter, it's the exact same price whether you use us or not. Now, one thing I will say is, obviously, we can book your dining reservations, we can book your hotel reservations, park tickets, and so many people, when they start researching Disney, they're like, oh, I can do it. And then they start researching and they're like, oh my, you don't even know where to start. Yeah. And if you're somebody who just clicked on this video who doesn't watch our podcast normally, you're probably in that spot right now. Like, where do you even begin? There's 4 parks, 25 hotels plus now. Yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, water parks, and it gets very confusing and very overwhelming very fast. So a Disney travel agent can help you navigate all of that kind of stuff. You can help, they can tell you if you give them their budget, if you give them like an idea of like, this is what we're wanting to spend, and or this is just kind of the experience that we're looking for. They can help you walk through all that. But here's the other thing, and this is some people comment this all the time. They're like, well, I enjoy booking Disney. And so people don't use a travel agent because of that. But here's the thing. If you enjoy booking dining reservations and that kind of stuff, you can book as much as you want on your own, but you can still book through a travel agent. And if there's, say, one specific reservation that you didn't get, that agent can then continue to monitor that reservation for you.
Until they can find it.
So you can book, if you really love booking your own hotel and booking, or I guess not the hotel, but if you love booking your own dining reservations, like you can do all that on your own and still book through a travel agent. And basically they're there when you need them and not there when you don't. You know,
when you don't want them,
right. And so, like, hey, I didn't get Bippity Boppity Boutique. Your agent can continue to watch that and then hopefully we have some different tools that we use. And if one comes up, we can try to get that booked for you. So
you guys are all really good about that.
Or if you need hand holding from the beginning to the end, we're there for that too. So it just kind of depends. And the other thing is, a lot of times if you go through like a big, like Costco kind of thing or whatever, you're kind of on your own. Or if you book directly through Disney, like you can call the cast members, but you're going to have to be on hold. You're going to have to do all that kind of stuff. Like we'll sit on hold for you so you don't have to do that.
That's it. For free.
For free, because we get paid by Disney. But we are there even like while you're on your trip. Like all the time, people will text us and be like, hey, we're here and this is going on, whatever. And your agent can respond and help you with whatever.
Right away, which is amazing.
Yeah. So all the way until you get home, you've got somebody there for you. So anyway, that's my little
spiel.
My little spiel for booking through a travel agent. And
your guys' reviews and ratings speak for yourself. Obviously, I am wildly biased as well. You have amazing agents. You have an amazing agency. And they know so much. And there have been times where I have texted or made you text the agents and ask like, hey,
it's amazing.
I have a question.
You think we know a lot. They
know a lot. So again, your agency is called People Mover Travel. Get it? Do you get it? Like the people mover?
And we move people because they travel and they move.
So peoplemovertravel.com. You can get a quote. Thanks, the sponsor of our video. So here's another tip. And this is one that all of us have heard a million times, okay? But sometimes I need to remind myself of this tip.
Yeah.
Make sure you have some kind of off or flex day.
Yeah.
That can look like a million different things, whatever you want, desire, and need, but I think that is often forgotten. Yeah. I was reading through some forums before this video and gathering my own thoughts of what I wanted to say. And someone mentioned that they saw someone had booked 9 days of parks in a row, and not just Disney. It was like Busch Gardens and like whatever else is near there. I don't know. Anyway, they had booked like 9 days of park tickets in a row, and it was like not just Disney. It was like Universal and other ones. And the person responded and said, oh man, they are in for a world of hurt when they realize what they've done, because you have to, I mean, even just from a sensory standpoint, get a break. Not just kids, grown up, everyone. You need that sensory break, whether it's an entire day or in the middle of the day. Like that's the other piece of it.
Unless you're like 22 and just a couple of 22-year-old whippersnappers.
But even still, I think anyone needs a break. And so having that time, and also Disney has so much else outside the parks.
Gosh, so much.
Like some of the magic, and I might touch on this again at the end, or maybe I'll just do it here. I think I've realized when I think about why I love going to Disney, nearly 50% of why I love it has nothing to do with the parks. It's being at the hotels, the pool, the just walking around, sitting and people watching with a coffee in the morning at my hotel, going to downtown, Disney Springs. Wow. That flowed right on out. Gosh,
you haven't accidentally done that in a long time.
That was weird. It's like overdrive, just like took over downtown Disney. That did not sound like me. Anyway, so just again, that reminder to build in that to your trip. You'll save money. You can do one less park day. But not only that, but you actually need it. You actually need it.
But I just feel like it's so important to have that day. So say you're going for 5 full days, 2 travel days on the end, do 2 park days, then do a day in the middle where you can just sleep in, you can spend time at the pool, you can resort hop, you can go to Disney Springs. Like there's still so much to do outside of the parks.
Go to the mini golf.
Go to the mini golf.
Still want to do that.
Take time to relax. Yeah. Because no matter which way you slice it, if you're staying at a Disney hotel, it's expensive. So enjoy your hotel. You know what I mean? As much as you can.
Yeah.
And they're so amazing. I mean, all the Disney hotels.
Every single one.
From the values to the deluxe resorts are also amazing in their own ways. Take time to enjoy your own resort.
Yeah, I love that. So to add to that, our next tip would be if you are wanting to take a midday break, which we recommend as well.
You wanted to say
I wanted to say piggybacking on that. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I think I've said it like, what's my piggyback count at this point? 6?
I don't know. There's got to be 7 or 8 piggybacks at this point.
So continuing on, you can go to nearby resorts for your midday break. So if you're like, okay, we don't have kids or I don't need a nap, like you said, maybe you're a 22-year-old whippersnapper, whatever. You're like, we don't really want to go, or maybe your resort is far and you're like, you know what? I don't really want to go all the way back there, but I do need a minute. Like I need to get out of the heat or I just need a sensory break. Yeah. Go to a nearby resort, Animal Kingdom, get on the Animal Kingdom Lodge bus and head over there. Yeah. If you're at Hollywood Studios or Epcot, hop on the Skyliner and go to any of those, grab a coffee at the Riviera and just sit. Yeah.
One of my favorite
Of course,
things,
the monorail. I mean, come on.
Yeah, is to go around the monorail loop. But even just to go sit over at Gasparilla Island Grill. Because you can still see the castle.
It's like the quick service at Grand Floridian. Yeah.
Just sit there for a few minutes, relax, grab yourself a Coke. Yeah. Get yourself a coffee, whatever, and just sit and relax. And you can still see the castle. They still got the music going and just...
You're in the vibes, but outside of the vibes. Yeah. It's perfect.
Take a beat. Sit in the lobby of any hotel.
Enjoy the gift shops at all of those.
Just take 15 minutes and you'll feel so much better, so much more refreshed.
Especially if it's in the middle of summer.
Yeah. Book your advance dining reservations 60 days out. Now, I feel like this is one thing that confuses a lot of people. You can book, for the most part, depending on what kind of package type you have, which is a different conversation. But for the most part, if you book a package reservation with resort and tickets and all that in one package, you can book your dining reservations. Board.
No, that's
basically
not kind of.
You can book your dining reservations 60 days out plus 10 days. So if all the way to 70 days out.
So the start of your trip, 60 days from now.
So if you're staying for 7 days, you can book all of those until that 7th day. Now, if you are trying to get a hard to get reservation, something like a Be Our Guest or something like anything that's a harder reservation to find, push those till your day 6, till your day 5, because as reservations open up, you know, people 3 or 4 days ago might have booked your first couple days. But then the further out that you go, the easier those hard to get reservations
just
are.
less people have had access to those days.
So take like a week before this. Make sure you have a plan. What reservations do we want to get? What backup reservations do we want to get? What are the hardest ones to get? So let's push those to the end. Like there's so many. And again, if you have a travel agent, they can walk you through all this. But there's so many things that factor into being able to get all those reservations. And a big part of it is getting up early on the morning on your 60-day out reservation. Yeah. And if you don't want to do that, especially if you're like out on the West Coast or something, where you're 3 hours ahead of time, it opens East Coast time. So you're up at, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is. So have your plan in place, ready to go.
Or book through a travel agent.
Or book through a travel agent. But you can book all the way up to 10 days out, typically.
Yeah. And that is huge. Again, even our recommendation too is like book things that you think you may want, because you can always cancel. Like, obviously, no, we don't recommend you just like book a ton of stuff. And that's why Disney does like a fee if you.
So that was to piggyback off what she was going to say. There was a whole big issue where people were booking a ton of reservations and then they would cancel them.
Like
and
4 or 5 in a day.
And they would ruin the whole system for everyone. So Disney overcorrected and then it was really hard. You couldn't cancel reservations. You were getting charged. That still exists, but it's a much more lenient policy now because you can only book a certain number of reservations at a time and all that stuff. Anyway. Yeah. Point of my story is, here's a little tip for you. We've had times where like, okay, we're planning on going to whatever restaurant. And like 2 hours beforehand, we're like, okay, kids are losing their mind. It's not going to happen today. And we can't cancel on the app anymore. So you're
because what is it, 24 hours before you're supposed to?
No, it's now less than that, but it also depends on the restaurant.
Okay.
So sometimes you can still cancel it on the app. If you can, fantastic. If you can't, they make you call. And then instead of just using the robot on your phone, they make you call into a robot. And that robot, you have to then give him your 4,000-digit reservation number over the phone. So I always have to have Jessica's phone in one hand, and I'm yelling into this one.
This frustrates you to no end.
9, 6.
Did you say 2870?
Let me get someone for you. And then I have to spend 45 minutes on hold. You can avoid all that if you modify your reservation to like a day or two ahead of time in the app. And then you can cancel it
on the app.
But I'm like,
whatever that window is, it's
like,
short, so you can't cancel it on the app within a certain number of hours of the app.
But I'm like, what's the difference between me being able to just hit cancel here on this, or have to call and that robot? Because it's not a real person; they're both robots.
Ooh, you
get very angry about this. Anyway, you can avoid that by doing that.
Which is nice. But make sure you cancel the other one so it's not like taking up a...
And it frees that up for somebody else. But also, if you just no-show, they will charge you.
Yes, they will. And the other thing, to kind of clarify what I said earlier, when I say, if you think you might want to... No, I actually did want to say clarify. Okay. Shed a little light on what I said earlier. I don't mean like, if you're thinking about doing book like a couple for the day. No, book one. But I mean like if it's a restaurant you're pretty sure you want to do, go ahead and book it 60 days in advance, because you could always change it or adjust later as you got closer to your trip. But
don't book like 4 reservations.
Yeah, that's not what I meant. I don't want to book something you're twisted. Like, we don't want to create the problem again where they start being strict.
Right. What number are we on? I've lost track of
I have no idea. And we may have 11 tips. I'm not sure. All right. So here's another tip for you. Genuinely consider the free things that are offered. So there's some obvious free things like, you can get free pins at certain things, and the cast members will give stickers and this cutesy things like that. But what I mean is there are so many free things you can do. For example, the Disney Play app, or Play Disney, I think it's called, is free. Download it on your phone. When you're in line or in the parks, there are so many games that are themed around the ride you're waiting for. That you can play with all ages of kids. Like, it is a treasure trove. I feel like, have barely scratched the surface of that app.
One of us is chasing a 2-year-old.
Yeah, we're just not in that. But in a few years, it is going to be really fun for us. And again, when you're waiting in line, you spend a lot of time in line. This kind of keeps that magic going. It gives you something to do. And 100%. I highly recommend the scavenger hunt. So a lot of, and I don't know that every single resort has it, but it's worth asking. A lot of them have a scavenger hunt at each different hotel, and it's fun. Like, you can do it with the kids. It's, I think, meant for kids, but I mean, honestly, we've been doing them with them, and they're kind of hard. So it would be fun for adults too. Yeah. We got one at the Riviera once that was for the entire Skyliner loop, if you will. I don't know if you call it. For all of those Skyliner resorts, you can resort hop there and do the scavenger hunt.
It's usually the people that are in like the yellow polo shirts. That's like the kids team or whatever they're called. Yeah. It's usually those people that have the handouts and stuff like that.
But either way, just ask the concierge, the front desk. They'll know, or they'll have them.
That's what I said. That if you don't see any of them, usually they're out of the pool. And I feel like that's normally where we get them. But if not, ask the front desk. I'm sure they have them too.
I've almost always gotten them at the front desk.
Really? I feel like I always got them at, like, when they would do like the little craft things for kids.
So that was another tip. Yeah. Some of the hotels have like full-blown craft rooms. Yeah. They're called like community rooms. Right. But it's not just crafts for kids. They'll have crafts you can pay to like do. Yeah. Like grown-up ones, like mugs you could buy and paint and things like that. So there's a lot to do. They almost always have like coloring pages and coloring things. Some of them have games and movies you could rent for your hotel room for free.
They also do movies under the stars at every resort. Yes. Like, they have the little A-frame signs.
It's so magical, you guys.
Yeah. Look at the A-frame signs and see what your resort is doing and try and squeeze it in.
And here's the thing. I'm realizing more and more too, especially with the kids, like them watching a movie under the stars with like a snack and a drink would be so much more memorable than them riding Winnie the Pooh one more time. Right. Or do you know what I mean? Like, I want to be better about taking our own tips and doing things like that, because that is so memorable and so different than the parks that they're experiencing every day at the parks. But that is something kind of special.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, I would agree. All right. So if you can make it work with your flight schedule, try and fly in as early as you can on the day. And obviously, if you have kids, nap schedules too.
Yeah, it's tricky, but
fly in as early as you can on your arrival day and fly out as late as you can on your departure day. Because once you arrive, if you have all your luggage, you can drop it off with Bell Services and then go out for the day. Now, I would say typically, unless you're landing at like 9 a.m., it's probably a good day for like a Disney Springs kind of thing or something like that, because your room might not be ready. I swear, every time my mom gets there at like 7 a.m., her room is ready.
It's amazing. I know.
Ours is like 5 p.m. and it's like still not ready. I'm like, but it was 3 o'clock check-in.
We've got a 2-year-old that really needs a nap.
But you can always drop your bags off with the Bell Services team. Go out and do whatever you're going to do for the day. Be light, and then come back. They will deliver your bags to your room, or you can stop by and pick them up yourself, whatever you want to do. And then on your departure day, you get up, you get ready, you drop your bags off, and then you go out, spend as much time as you can at whatever you're doing, and then pick your bags up before you head to the airport.
Yeah, that is a huge tip, because that will save you. I don't know that saving money is not the right term. It's more that typically the early and the late flights are cheaper, depending on a million factors.
How early and how late, yeah.
But I mean, genuinely, because most people aren't trying to, like the 9 a.m. flights are always going to be the more expensive ones. But when you think about your time spent on vacation and you're already paying for that certain number of nights, that is the way to maximize your time in in the parks or in that resort area. So,
and you might get an extra 6 hours on either end. That's 12
that's
extra
like a day.
hours.
That's a day.
Yeah. That's a lot.
And you're still paying the same amount for your hotel night. So it's huge. Yeah. And obviously the factors of like kids and what would work best for you.
And especially on your first day, your adrenaline's going. You're so excited to be there. Like you can go.
Yeah.
Maybe not as much on the last day, but especially if you have a rest day in the middle, like we also suggested, you'll be nice and rested and ready to go.
Ready to go. All right. Drum roll, please. My number one hack. This one is the one that blew my mind when I get to this very specific part of this tip. Now listen closely, because it's going to sound confusing until it's not. So our best friends recently went to Disney, and they've gone a couple times. They usually bring some other family with them. They have young kids as well, but they are both, especially Ben, very logistical. Like they will, like he will read every forum to make sure he is doing everything in the most not economical way, but also like...
I mean, he lives and dies by the spreadsheet. I mean,
he's an engineer, okay? So he's looking for the like best solutions to everything. So,
data-driven results.
That's right. Tested. So this is one he had kind of mentioned. I'm like, oh, yeah. And we do this.
Yeah, but I didn't...
But there's one piece of it that I was like, oh my gosh, with the new Lightning Lane. Okay. So the biggest complaint about Lightning Lane I have, besides the fact that you have to pay for it, my second complaint is that it's that tiered system. So like the good rides, they're like, choose one from this category. You're like, no, all the rides I wanted are all in that category. And I can only pick one Lightning Lane.
Which it used to be that way back when they had the free Fast Pass, but I didn't mind because it was free Fast Pass.
Yeah, now we're paying for it and getting... Okay, so this is the idea of what some people have called like a throwaway Lightning Lane. I don't know that term is perfect for this because it kind of is, but it's kind of not. So let me explain. Okay. So I'm going to read my own notes, so hopefully this will make sense. A lot of people recommend booking your most difficult to get Fast Pass first, which when you're first booking your Lightning Lanes, I should say, you're picking 3 no matter what. You're going to pick one from tier 1 and then et cetera.
And then 2 from tier 2.
So obviously you're going to want to pick ones that are harder to find because they may be sold out by the time you actually get there. So yes, do that. However, I agree with that for the most part. So if you were dying to ride Slinky Dog, book that. Odds are anyway, it's going to be like 3 p.m. because those sell out so crazy fast. But my recommendation is book something as close to park opening as possible. That's a ride you still want to ride, but it's maybe a less popular one. So let's say like Dumbo. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you're like, all right, I'm going to book Dumbo at 8:05 a.m. It's the earliest they have. Park opens at 8, whatever. So you book it. The idea is that is your throwaway Lightning Lane. You're still going to go ride it. That's why I think the throwaway term doesn't totally make sense. But you go and ride it. Once you've scanned into the ride, you're able to book your next Lightning Lane, which is great. And that's what we knew. And we were like, and it's amazing. And you get right in and we do that. And we'll book the next one. And it's, the park just opened and we're already booking our 4th Lightning Lane. Like that's amazing. What I didn't realize with this new Lightning Lane, because I just wasn't paying attention, is that what happens is when you scan in, it unlocks all of the tiers. So suddenly you're able to book another tier 1, like top tier ride right then and there. So hopefully you got your Slinky Dog. We're in 2 different parks at this point, but you get what I'm saying. So I just want to throw that in there because that is a super valuable, don't you think?
Yes. Now this does not include individual Lightning Lanes, which is a whole
like
separate...
Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, perfect example.
Everything is always more complicated than it needs to be when it comes to Disney World.
But another tip you could do too is, this is probably what I would do, or what I would even tell someone to do. If you're in Magic Kingdom and you're like, I want to do Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, it's not a part of the like standard Lightning Lane thing, book your Dumbo at 8:05, but maybe instead of going to Dumbo right away, like many people do, rush right over to Seven Dwarfs, which is what everyone does, but still, maybe you only wait 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. You ride Mine Train. By 8:35, you're getting in Dumbo. So even still, by 8:35, you're able to book another Lightning Lane. You know what I'm saying? So that's one way to kind of circumvent where it's still, the tip still works for you,
right?
But it's not, you're still getting to rush to like a rope drop ride like that.
Yeah. That's
what do you think? Tip. I think that's it. I can't wait to utilize that whenever we go next.
Well, like we said, we've done that almost every time we've used it. I didn't put together that the tier system goes away.
Yeah. Well, and we had done that a lot more prior to the way the Lightning Lane is now. Do you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So anyway,
we'll see how long
it's just changed so much.
We'll see how long this remains relevant, because Disney, I'm sure, will change it again in 6 months. Okay, so we asked you guys on our Disneyville Instagram, which is at Disneyville Podcast, what your best tips are.
Let's hear them.
Ooh, we got a ton on this one. This is great.
I know. I was just about to say, my gosh. Man. And we just posted this like an hour ago, and you guys are coming through. All right. Male E. Nicole Hopkins said, arrive on a Sunday when everyone's leaving. Leave on a Friday before the weekend hits. That's actually a great idea, because a lot of times I'll be like, if we can swing it, we'd like arrive midweek and leave midweek. You know what I mean? Just to kind of, but that's probably a really good tip, because on Sunday everyone is leaving. But then, because if I'm thinking through this way too hard. I think that's a really great tip.
Peyton Lauren 1 said, got this tip from y'all, building in a rest day. Parks are great, but needed, but a day to chill is so needed.
And again, at the end of the day, like I try to remind myself, this is meant to be a vacation. No, it's not going to be a super relaxing, like we all know, but you are meant to like take a break. Like it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I love this. Nikki Olivares said, Liquid IV.
She was one of our People Mover Travel clients.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, this is a great tip. Liquid IV and Celsius packets in the same water bottle around 2 p.m. to fight the sleepy. So if you are barreling through, and plus, I mean, extra hydration. Yes.
Anytime you can get it.
That is an awesome tip. A lot of people, hire People Mover Travel. That was Nikki as well.
Tori Nicolari, another client.
Gem-worthy vacations. Use a travel agent.
Tori Nicolari said, People Mover Travel, no joke. I don't have time or patience to look at all the deals.
So sweet.
So this is awesome.
Okay.
Ooh, this is a really good one. So A. McCloy 423 said $500 Disney gift cards from Sam's Club are discounted to $485. Use them to pay for your tip. I know a lot of people do that. And there's like all kinds of things where you can like use your Target card and you get 2% cash back, right?
Oh yeah. There's a whole ring of
things that you can do. Yeah.
No, and it's so true. I think we need to be better about doing that. Because a lot of times we'll lean on the fact that like, okay, if you have like a Disney Visa, you can get a certain percentage off. But I think using that kind of stuff could be huge.
Yeah.
Olivia Rizzo. This is, Tyler, you're going to love this. Okay. And we've kind of done this before when there have been like more than just us going. But she recommended having a pre-trip planning meeting with everyone in the party, link up on the app, all of that.
Yeah.
Have everyone get used to the app.
Yes.
Because a lot of times, especially if you have people that they're maybe not digital natives like we may be. I don't know.
Well, and sometimes it's hard. It's confusing. Where do you find the wait times? Where do you find, where do you go to find your resort
key that you can unlock the key? Yeah. Yeah. So I love that tip. That is an amazing one, especially if it's not just like you and your spouse or something. It's more than that. That's genius.
Meg Hanser 15 said, small kids late at night, splurge for the minivan, avoid the bus meltdown. There's something to that. I know one of our neighbors that's gone a lot. He's like, I just build that into my budget. He's like, when I'm budgeting for my trip, I just budget in, using minivans, using Uber, using Lyft. He's like, because there are so many times where I'm like, I just want to go right there and I want to go when I want to go. I don't want to deal with the transportation. I don't want to deal. So just, there is something to be said about that, especially.
Or like even if you just said like, okay, I'm going to plan it in that 2 nights when we need it the most, we're going to do it. The other nights we'll do bus, or 1 night.
Right.
That is a great idea. The minivan, I mean, I know a lot of you guys know, but they have car seats.
Yes.
Of various sizes. They're all like trained to know how to install them properly for what ages. Like, it is an amazing service. Yes. Okay. This is one of my big tips too. I should add, we're going to eventually do like a kid focused episode. hopefully in the next month or two, just about like our best tips, very specific tips with kids that have like saved us on trips that are like game changers we do every time without thinking about it. But we want to share that with you. This is one of mine. X-Teen Ash 430 said, reusable bag under the stroller to hold the stuff you need to remove when you're collapsing the stroller to get on like, the bus. We do too. And actually that was a tip from my buddy Ashley. She's Pixie Dusted Mom on YouTube. You would love her, especially if you're a Disney person. That is her world. Disney with kids. That is a game changer with strollers, being able to get all that junk out of there and throw it in a bag that you can just put on your shoulder. And then
one person grabs the bag and the kids,
makes
one
it
person grabs
so
the
much less stressful. And the other thing we've started doing is getting all that packed up before we've even left the park.
So that way
we take a minute. So we're not like, because once you see the bus and you're like, oh, we got to run. It is, that is chaos. So yeah, anyway.
Jill D313 said shoe dryers after a random afternoon rain, you can dry your shoes. I will say, this is a great, and to piggyback on Jill here, I will say one of my agents brought this up recently. And I'm like, this is so smart. I always only bring like one pair of shoes and then like a pair of flip-flops. Bringing two pairs of shoes, so if you are caught in a rainstorm, it gives your other shoes a pair
a whole day to dry or whatever.
That never occurred to me.
Oh, I do that every single time.
I know you do, but I always try and pack as light as I can. So I always bring like the tennis shoes I'm wearing, and then I pack a pair of flip-flops.
It rains so much there, it's just not worth. But can we tell, our friends that we were just talking about, we'll have to ask them if we can leave this in. They were recently there, and it was very, very rainy. Just one of those trips, and I felt so bad for them.
And it was kind of cold. It was
like, so their shoes were wet. And our friend sent us a picture of, again, he's an engineer, and he had like the hair dryer like launched somewhere, and it's like shooting up at the shoes, trying to dry them, which genuinely is genius.
Yeah.
You know, they were in the room. It was safe. It was fine. But Emily said the smell from that. She said, I felt so bad for the mousekeepers that had to come in there clean, because she said even with the shoes out of the room, the smell was just awful.
And she's like, I wanted to be there when they got through. Be like, I promise, it's just shoes. Oh man, that's so funny.
So yeah, bring two pairs of shoes each.
Ooh, Hokey Amy said, have your daughter do the Disney college program, then decide to work for Disney. Bada bing, bada boom, you're in. That's great.
So this is interesting. This is a different perspective. The millennial Mrs. L said, stay all day. Get the most for your money. The park is different as the day progresses. I do agree. The parks at night versus the morning versus midday, it's just such a different vibe everywhere.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you there. And I think if you've got the gumption and the energy and maybe some caffeine in the middle of the day.
And a kid that naps in a stroller.
Or just no kids with you at all. Then why not? I mean, that is how we used to do it. But boy, I do love the midday.
The midday snooze or the midday.
But thinking about bang for your buck money wise.
Yes.
You know.
Because you're cutting out so many hours in the afternoon by doing. So at least if you have a rest day in the middle, you can use your pool time then. But yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is a great one. TayVD25. These are words to live by for just travel in general.
Okay.
Make a really good plan and be comfortable with throwing it by the wayside once you get there. That's it. Have a great plan. Hopefully everything goes to plan. But if it doesn't, it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. You're still gonna have fun if you're in the right mentality.
Yeah. And it can be hard. There have been so many times in our own travels, not just to Disney, but anywhere, where you're starting off and things are going wrong. And in your head, I'm speaking for myself, you're like, oh my gosh, we've spent so much money on this and here we are and I'm in a bad mood and my feet are wet and stinky and, whatever.
My
and
back
I'm hungry
hurts
and
I got gas.
Yeah. And you start down that rabbit hole and it's hard to stop yourself and say, okay, whoa, stop. You're okay. Everything's okay. You're on your trip. You can turn it around, turn your mood around just because your feet are wet or,
Yeah.
And it's hard to stop yourself, but it's important too, because then it colors the rest of your day, the rest of your trip. And
Absolutely.
But I love that.
Our friend Kellyanne DiCarlo.
Hey.
She's got 4 great ones here. Okay, so Amazon Prime groceries, you'll need them in the room ahead of time, so they're there upon arrival. Legs up on the wall at the end of the night for 10 to 15 minutes. That's genius. She said afternoon naps don't underestimate how much they can improve your trip. Now, I just read a 1,200-page book on Winston Churchill, and he would agree. He was all about his naps.
Wasn't he always in the bath too? Why have we talked about this twice in a video recently? I'm just thinking about the crown.
I got Churchill on the brain. And then she said, first flight there, leave stuff at Bell Services and go to the park. All
Amen.
great advice.
Okay. Michael Wetherill said, always fly in early morning. Why fly in at 3 p.m. or later and pay money for a room? That's it. That's one thing we've been going back and forth with a lot, depending on flight times, is if you are getting in late and you're still paying that amount for your room, you're paying the same amount either way for that hotel room.
Right.
So why not have that whole day before if you can swing it with what you got going on?
Right. And sometimes you'll get there and it'll be ready, which is fantastic. You get it for the whole day.
Roser724 said, don't be afraid to break away for a bit if you go with a big group to do your own thing.
Oh,
that is huge.
That is a good advice.
I think that's important, again, in any travel, but especially in Disney because, you know, if you're a group that's got some kids and some not and grandparents and this, that, and the other, and you're all ages and kids that are into different things, some are into princesses, others are into cars, you know, whatever. I think being okay with, and maybe that's one of those things that when you have your group planning meeting saying, okay, we all need to be cool with if we want to break off and do something, not to take it personally. Like we're trying to also enjoy our vacation and get the most for our, and I am really bad about wanting to be a group pleaser. I'm so bad. I have been better.
Yeah.
But I am really bad about that when we traveled with other people that I just want, I'm like, whatever you all say, let's just do it. I don't ever want, I'm just so happy to be here. But I think that is important to like, you're allowed to take the horns of your own trip.
Yeah.
Because you're also paying.
Exactly.
Unless someone else is paying for your trip. Maybe you listen.
Okay, so Do It Blondie said thrill data, more accurate than the Disney app and can show upwards and downwards trends in wait times. That's gotten me on all the impossible rides without lightning lanes. What's the other one
I took? What did she say?
She said thrill data.
Ooh.
What is the one that we tried that
Standby Skipper.
That was a pretty good one. That worked pretty well.
I agree. And I would recommend it for some people depending in that, gosh, we could do a whole episode on.
Yeah.
But that's one you have to pay for, but it might be worth looking into if you're really wanting to get multiple hard to get rides. It will kind of like book it for you once you scan into your next thing.
You say what you want to do and then if it finds one, it just books it, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So like, let me give one example. We were wanting Frozen. We were wanting Remy and we were riding Frozen. It was like one of those things. And those are two like on the same tier. So you can't book them both at the same time when you're first booking. So what you let the app know, like we really want Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. And so when you're next available to book it, it will book whatever is on your list if it can. But Remy was sold out for the day in theory. And so we got on Frozen, which meant we could book our next lightning lane. And I got a notification that said, we just booked you Remy at 3:15 p.m. So when people cancel, it's picking up on that and able to book. So it can be very valuable, but then there are other times it's really just not because you did get the lightning lanes you already wanted. And,
but didn't you say it was like $25 for the week?
No, I don't remember the exact price, but it's like a certain amount for the day, but it's in theory cheaper, more economical if you pay for it for the week.
Right.
Of course. It's like anything, you know. So, I mean, it might be worth it because I think you hook everyone up to the one app. So only one of you needs to pay for it. It's not like you have to pay for it for everyone. So, as far as I know. And that was like a year ago that we used it. But yeah.
And didn't you hear
something
about that?
to look into? You
heard about that from Brianna, Tata, and Corey.
I saw them use it, yeah.
Woodbine.
They're both Woodbines.
Which now they're both Woodbine. Okay.
They also have a YouTube channel and a Disney podcast. Anyway.
Minneapolis Mouse said, this might sound opposite, but stopping to smell the roses, appreciating the moment. Agreed. Take that time.
That's a good life truth. Okay, the Emily we were just talking about. Did we meet? Too. We met in the middle.
Yeah,
okay.
Must have, yeah.
She said, this was your advice, but the catch-all bag for all the stroller stuff saves marriages. Yeah, okay, I agree. I
got to add this one to my last one to piggyback of Minneapolis Mouse.
What's our piggyback count up to?
Maggie J. Rose. I have to say this one because I love this word. Luxuriate.
Ooh.
Take your time walking to the attractions and enjoy the scenery. My friend and I always used to say, oh, we are so good at luxuriating.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
That's great.
Kelsey CL13 said, I always plan my outfits for each day on a Disney trip. You end up spending way less time getting ready. I will say that's a great tip because, and if you're like, I know you'll be like, all right, I pack like these shorts and these shirts and I can just do whatever. Yeah. But with my kids, like I'll plan outfits, but I don't necessarily plan which day. I know some people do. But for me, I'll plan the outfits and I'll take pictures on my phone. And then the night before, I'll just kind of scroll through and say, okay, for tomorrow, based on the weather, I'll do this one. So that's the way I plan without making it such a big project when I'm packing. It'd probably save me even more time if I just did it when I was packing. But anyway, but yeah, I do think there's something to that kind of planning. It's just less decision fatigue in the morning when you're already trying to get ready and get out of the door and go explore.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I'm going to rapid fire 3 here because these are really good ones. But I always feel so bad. There's always so many good ones.
You guys, yeah.
So if you didn't get yours read, you should comment on the YouTube video, or like I said, comment on the blog post on our website, because there's so many good ones that we didn't get to read. But like, if we can just make a list of all of them, I want everybody to hear all of these. Okay, so really quickly, Stephanie H. Parks 9 said, plan, everything but be in the moment and be willing to be way flexible. Kind of like we already talked about, but great advice. Care 109 said, be present. The best moments of a Disney trip can be the ones you don't try to create. I love that, because everyone's always like, we got to get our castle photo. We got to get this. We got to get that. That's not the stuff you remember. Like, you want to get your castle photo, get it. But like, it's always the little things that you don't plan on happening that like always end up being the things you love the most. And then just to piggyback on what we were saying a minute ago, Lauren Hayes 719 said, Standby Skipper saved us on our trip last week. $45 for the entire week for all in your party. So there we go.
Okay, so yeah, that's not. I mean, when you're thinking about a Disney budget, when you're budging, if
a
you
beer
can
is
swing
$45 at Disney.
that is true. Gosh, okay, maybe it is worth it. We really enjoyed it when we used it. I have to say, I think we just haven't had the need to use it yet on another trip.
Yeah.
You know, thank you guys for all of those. I mean, this is a treasure trove, as I've said, of information, a wealth of knowledge from a lot of you guys that have gone on so many trips. So I hope this was helpful or just enjoyable. Maybe we're just hanging out with you on your drive to work. I don't know.
I don't know your life.
I don't know your life. What are you up to? But yeah, if you want to join the conversation next time, because we pretty much in every episode have this section towards the end where we're like sharing your guys' tips or questions or whatever. Typically we are pulling these from our Instagram, like you said, which is Disneyville Podcast. We're also on Facebook. Anywhere you want to find us, we're there.
Yep.
We're not yet on TikTok.
Yeah.
I think we have the handle, but we just haven't.
Yeah.
But we are everywhere else, so definitely check those out. Anything
Did you
else?
want to read a review?
Sure. Okay. This first sentence made me so happy, Tyler. Okay. So this is from Daniel Hoff 3.
Oh, Daniel. Daniel Hoff is a buddy of mine. We message all the time. Anyway,
that's awesome. Okay, cool. We said, citizen Disneyville, 5 stars. Yay. This sentence right here. The Disneyville podcast is the one you are looking for.
That's so awesome.
Straight to the heart. Okay.
Did you sing that earlier in this episode?
I sure did.
I thought so.
Just on repeat. I'm on a loop. I'm actually just AI. It's not true.
How many fingers do you have? Show me quick.
6.
Okay.
Wait. Okay. So this is the perfect, light and easy to listen to podcast for all Disney lovers. This podcast is like talking about a common love with your long lost friends. That's so nice. I look forward to every other Monday for new episodes to drop. The topics have been perfect and can't wait for more interesting topics you guys have coming. It sounded like more interesting. Like these have been okay, but no, I'm kidding. Thank you, Jessica and Tyler, for bringing more Disney to all of our ears. Thank you so much, awesome. Daniel. Gosh, I'm blushing. That was so nice. That's why we're doing this. We've said in every episode, this is our passion project.
Yeah, we're doing it because
we do it for fun.
Yeah.
And glad that you guys are finding some enjoyment in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, we will see you guys on the next one. And until then, au revoir.
Bye, guys.